Hey everybody, and welcome to the Mainstream Indie Music channel. It seems like it's been a while. I know the last couple of weeks, just really quick before we get into the video here, have been really up and down. I personally went on 2 huge vacations, and while it was great for me personally, the upload schedule definitely got really wonky, either because my schedule was all messed up on vacation or because I would try to record something and then I would have like poor signal or something like that, and it just didn't pan out. So this is kind of the video that's going to be for last week, but we are definitely going to still have our regular video on Friday, Thursday or Friday here this week. Now, we got that out of the way. Let's get to the main course of the video here. AI, artificial intelligence, and music. If anything, this is kind of a part 2 to the video from last previous upload, because for the first time, AI music artists were not only there because whether we acknowledge it or not, sorry, there's a police car going past my place and it seems like they won't leave, so that's going to be in the background. But anyway, whether we acknowledge it or not, AI artists are amongst us all over the place. So really, this video is not really a deep dive into is it right or not. It's a deep dive into where does this lead the music industry. Now on the screen, you see a different artist, right? You see The Weeknd, Drake, John Lennon. And the reason why, especially Drake and John Lennon are on there, is because they have noticed that there are almost fake AI artists. So Drake has been having major problems finding fake Drake songs online. And the problem is especially kids, but even grown adults are hearing these songs online, and whether they know that they're AI or not, they just start to think, hey, this song sounds really catchy, or I like this song, and I'm going to give it a lot of support. But it ends up being an AI artist. John Lennon is brought up because, of course, he has been dead for numerous amounts of years, and his estate is worried about that, as are many music artists that have passed away in the past. Their family and their estate is starting to get worried that AI will eventually just get so sophisticated that it will replicate and then create a brand new song, and it'll just be catchy enough that it'll garner enough support and people will like it. That to me is one of the biggest issues with AI music, and hopefully, and I almost have confidence that, the powers that be, whether it be from music artists themselves or if there's some kind of weird music governing body or whatever, that they will decide that there needs to be a process for deceased musical artists going forward. But who knows? Maybe the greed that's coming from the streams will just kind of keep on pushing them to do that. So it could swing either way. But regardless, like I said, that to me is one of the biggest problems and one of the biggest hurdles that they're going to have to overcome. Now, the second one is in the areas of country and hip hop, there have been numerous artists that are starting to stream and be in the top 10 lists and hits. And it's interesting because when you look them up online, you'll even notice that like a year or two ago, they didn't exist. They weren't real. Country, well, quote unquote, country musicians, the Velvet Sundown, I believe is what they're called, are AI. They're fake. They're not real. And yet people that listen to music on a casual basis, maybe they just kind of have Spotify going on in the background, they don't care. They don't care that this is a fake band. They just kind of think, hey, the song is catchy, I like the message of it, I like the music of it, so who cares if it's an AI program or not? The picture that you see on the screen right now is an AI artist called Xenia. I hope I'm saying that right, but Xenia, who cares, right? Xenia Monet, who was actually signed to a record-breaking deal to make her music. The crazy part about AI artists, too, is when I say they haven't existed for a long time, they literally are programmed and then put public just a couple of weeks before they start topping in these music charts. So, what does all of this mean, right? Because that's kind of the big question. Well, human artists, and as if you've been a fan of this channel, you've seen a lot of how bands get their start. They tour for months, they tour for years, they make music for months, they make music for years. It's always a gamble on whether or not the music is going to pay off. They sacrifice a ton, they sacrifice school, college, friendships, relationships. Their mental health kind of deteriorates. And that's part of the human experience, right? That is part of what makes them a musical band. And that's what makes the songs kind of reach out and stand out to us. Well, now the problem is real music artists, humans, will see that maybe these AI artists even get a boost from Spotify and support from Spotify when they make music. And because it only takes them a couple of weeks with no human effort behind it, are going to start to think, well, why even bother making music? Because it's just too difficult. And that's the second problem and reason that I have behind this AI movement. Is AI in itself bad? No, because you have to break AI up into different sections, right? It's not just, it's a landscape, and then inside of it is a bunch of AI programs. It can be very helpful. It can be a very good tool, and then of course, throughout the course of human history, a lot of technological advances happen and people show hesitation for it, but it ends up not being that bad. This I have a huge problem with because of those two reasons and many other reasons beside it. But I just wanted to focus on those two. The disrespect that it has towards artists in the way of copying artists that are currently alive, and especially when it tries to copy and make new material with dead and deceased musical artists, and the very lack of effort that it makes, and maybe even possible support that it gets from streaming services, and that is just pulling resources away from real human artists. What do you guys think? I want to hear it. Is AI really that bad with music? Is it not that bad? And what's the future for it? I'll see you all later on this week.